is local coverage you can count on.
It's 8:40. The woman killed by her estranged husband last Friday, the incident that led to that horrifying crash at 40 in Lindbergh, well, that woman had contacted a private detective.
Kelli Alexander and her friend April Wheeler were killed by Alexander's estranged husband, John. Private investigator Joe Adams is joining us live this morning. Good morning to you, Joe.
Good morning.
First off, obviously this was a woman who was fearful of her husband. She had a restraining order and was trying to hire a private eye. At what point did she actually contact you?
It was sometime during the first week of February that I received a call from a lady who identified herself as Mrs. Alexander and said that as the conversation went on, she thought her husband was going to probably kill her and was inquiring about protective service, bodyguards, things like that.
And why didn't you take this case, and what advice did you give her?
I'm already booked. I can't take any more work right now, and so I told her, in fact, that I was already preoccupied for months in advance, and that I referred her to a couple other agencies in St. Louis that could help her. And then when she inquired about what something like that costs, and I told her, and we talked about restraining orders and dealing with the police, because the first thing I said, you need to contact the police. She says she's done that. So but she was definitely, her voice was cracking at the time. And I had returned her call because I thought she had said it was Kathy Alexander, who, well, I know a Kathy Alexander. It's not the same relation. And I called her back and tried to counsel her and tell her the proper directions to take.
Now, we've been talking this morning about restraining orders, and basically, it's a piece of paper. It's not going to prevent people. What can a bodyguard or a PI do?
Well, we do protective service, and we don't like to refer ourselves as bodyguards, because bodyguards is the image of a big guy standing there maybe with a weapon, a thug. And what we do as private detectives is we actually do preemptive measures as far as counter-surveillance, surveillance, actually watch the client to see who might be watching them, watch the respondent to see where possibly they're located and what they're up to, background checks, electronic countermeasures, make sure the phones aren't bugged, offices aren't bugged.
In a situation like the one that happened on Friday, what would you have done if you had been there at the time? I mean, what are the rules that you have to play by?
Well, first of all, she shouldn't have been driving herself, okay? And if she would have known where he was at the time and kept him under surveillance, it could have been a preemptive effort. And certainly not have someone follow you in a car, which creates a trap to where you're trapped between vehicles. I mean, she should not have been driving herself, because you should need a professional driver with evasive driving techniques. And I mean, she has enough on her mind without worrying about traffic.
What can a woman in her situation do?
Well, I mean, she took the proper steps as far as the restraining order, but the restraining order is only as good as if the respondent is irrespective of the law. Obviously, in this case, the man had no fear of breaking the law or going to jail because, I mean, he shot his wife.
But how many people can afford to hire a guy like Joe Adams? I mean, what does it cost?
Let's talk about the Alexander situation. I would think the Alexander situation, now that what I know about it, probably would be about $3,000 a day.
A day?
A day.
Can they hire you, say, on a retainer and say, hey, I'm going to need you, I'm going to go shopping, or I need you here and there?
Sure, I mean, we do it all the time.
Do it cheaper?
But a lot of it is, protection is 90% detection, and that's where a PI comes in. We're able to detect the problem before it happens, not become a bodyguard to be a human shield to protect somebody. Actually stop it before it happens.
And how long at $3,000 a day would someone need your services?
I'm involved in a situation right now which is very similar to the Alexander case. And so the situation I'm in now will probably last for months.
Yeah, it's a sad, sad story.
Yeah, very sad.
Especially when you consider the kids, and they were there at the time. And,
yeah, it's tragic.
Yeah. Very sad.
All right. Joe, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Joe Adams,
thank you.
All right, let's now turn to